Gringos, gringos, en Buenos Aires, en Buenos Aires, gringos, en Buenos Aires. Lights on the street, the rhythm is jumping, gringos in town and everybody is humping. From the north to the south, we're making some noise, showing the world we got the soul of the boys. Gringos en Buenos Aires.
Welcome to the Gringos in Buenos Aires podcast, a podcast that brings expat / immigrant life to you. I'm your host, Paul Perry, and this dose is being brought to you by Locuras Rock and my friend Charlie in Villa Gesell. With us today, a very special guest, a punk rock legend, lead singer of Killing Joke. Let's give a warm Gringos welcome to Jaz Coleman.
So I sing in this band called Killing Joke, and Nirvana's done our music, Metallica's done our music,
Right.
so many, Foo Fighters, many bands been influenced by Killing Joke, and I started my career in 1978, and the last concert I did was in 2023 at the Royal Albert Hall. But that's not the whole side of it. I've got other careers as well. I conduct orchestras. I'm currently working with Orchestra Suisse Romande in Geneva. I record regularly in Russia for the last 15 years anyway. I go and do concerts there and record there, and I should be hopefully going back there maybe this year. It all depends, doesn't it, these days?
Yeah.
It's not just the threat of a war these days, it's the threat of total extinction, isn't it? That makes it so profound, all the changes that are happening. So, I have a classical career that came before my punk rock career.
Uh-huh.
And I actually have sold a lot of records through classical records. It started out one afternoon when I was in Paris, and I got asked to arrange some rock music for a symphony orchestra. So I got every copy of symphonic rock that's ever been done, drank a bottle of champagne, listened to it, and thought it was absolute crap, and decided, I'll start arranging and composing my own stuff. And, I've sold a couple of million records and made a good name for myself. And the study part, I started studying for orchestra when I was 22, when I went off to Iceland. I've lived in lots of countries. And I decided I wanted to be a composer when I was in Iceland, in Reykjavik. And then it wasn't until 8 years later that my career actually started. In that time, the money that I made from rock music, I spent it on studying classical music. And I went to communist countries to learn. I went to Minsk, Russia, Hungary, and East Germany, in Leipzig. I worked with the Gewandhaus Orchestra then. So I've had a colourful life when you take it into consideration that before I was 16, I had 4 criminal offences. 3 were drugs, and 1 was poaching.
Oh.
Yeah, so I could have gone the other way, and I think music saved me from getting into too much trouble.
Yeah, we're pretty similar in that sense.
Those early days in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, man.
Yeah.
Writing saved me. Bukowski saved me. Just like music saved you, Bukowski saved me, man. Because I was, I'm from South Philly, tough town back in the 70s and 80s, But anyway, I wanted to say it's an honor to have you here.
Oh, it's very nice.
I really thank you for joining me here.
I love your podcast.
Thank you, man.
We both ended up in this wonderful city, and of course, you always get a lot of people saying,
¿Qué haces acá?
Why Argentina?
Yeah, ¿qué haces acá? ¿Qué haces acá?
Yeah,
What are you
I don't
doing?
speak English properly.
No, but what are you doing here? So I get that all the time.
Oh, yeah,
¿Qué haces
exactly.
acá?
Well, it's easy for me. I to explain my relationship with this country takes a bit of doing. When I was 27, one of the things that I was completely obsessed with was collecting Aerolíneas Argentinas memorabilia and pamphlets and stuff like that. I was a bit suicidal at this point. I thought, maybe I'll go to top myself in if it looks really bad, and I'll go to South America. And the reason why I was interested in Aerolíneas is it went via Buenos Aires back to New Zealand, I'm a New Zealand passport holder, and I've got a home in New Zealand. So my interest in this place started at the age of 27.
Wow. Cool.
My curiosity with this place, my love of tango, and the old buildings, the old imperial architecture of the city,
it is.
which is beautiful. I think it would have been better if UNESCO had stepped in and saved a lot of the facades of the buildings here. There's too many new buildings and not enough of the old ones, in my opinion.
Sure.
But there you go. There's progress, and I love the people in Argentina. I mean, I can go home to Czech Republic. I can go home. I've got a few places that I call home. I can go home to New Zealand, but I prefer it here in Argentina because I love the people. People make a place.
Yeah.
And the people are kind of the people you'd like to be around if there was no more cash, if suddenly all the banks went down. These people know what to do. They've been there before.
Oh, dude, Argentines are economically indestructible, man.
Yeah, that's
I've
right.
been through it all. I've been here since the 90s.
Oh, that's right. You've seen it all.
I raised 3 kids on, $1,500 a month on average. I raised 3 kids, man, and it's just, you can't do that anywhere in the world, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so by that, I mean that you learn how to become indestructible and always make it to the next day. You know what I'm saying? There was a time where, my kids were, I bought them meat, but I bought liver for myself, which was like 50 cents for a liver steak. You know what I'm saying? And so Argentines are economically indestructible, and they know how to exist with what they can make and what they can do, in terms of, I don't know. What happened in 2001, had that happened in the U.S., people would just be blowing their brains out or killing everybody.
It's about to.
Yeah.
Because the petrodollar's not looking too healthy. I mean, the U.S. forced everybody to trade in petrodollars, as you well know, and that's all going down the toilet now. And then you've got the Strait of Hormuz. There's 2 problems there, not just the oil problem, but you've got nitrates, which we become nitrate dependent in the agrarian sector. Yeah. In order to have a quick yield with crops these days, we throw loads of nitrates on the soil. Most of the nitrates actually come from Morocco. Yeah. The world's nitrates come from Morocco, and now that they can't get through the Strait of Hormuz, it's going to facilitate food insecurity on a global level.
Now, we're in 2026. We got AI. I consider what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz and all that, it's so stupid. Can't AI just say, "Hey, man, what you're doing? What's the sense? What's the purpose
what you've got
of
to
everything?"
understand is, firstly, the Bank of International Settlements.
It's all about banks.
They're the central bank of central banks. They're the central bank that governs the central bank in the US, the Feds, and everywhere else. All central banks are answerable to the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements, in Switzerland. Okay. And basically, they're financing all sides in this coming war You've got 3 wars or conflicts that are converging now. You've got the Taiwan problem, and that really is a problem. And then you've got Iran, and you've got Ukraine, and all these are converging. It's not looking good. But
not looking good for Europe.
The point I want to make here is it hasn't happened by chance. It's been manufactured by the Bank of International Settlements and associated bodies. You're lucky that I'm not in power, because anybody who'd attended the World Economic Forum, I'd throw them in prison. That's what I do. I believe that there isn't a political solution to the current problems. I really think that, on the 6th in this country, as you well know, there's the Parliament are making a legislation to basically deregulate the natural resources in this country, which will affect everybody. It means that all your fresh water will be used for AI data centers, right?
Sure, yeah.
And people like Peter Thiel. And if that happens...
He just bought a mansion here.
If that happens, it's because you...
¿Este es el orden correcto?
¿Sabías que España es el país con las fronteras más extrañas en el mapa?
If that happens, it's because the people let it happen.
Yeah.
That's what I can only go so far in what I really believe in, but I don't think there's a political solution.
Yeah.
So
do you believe people have any power at all? I mean, guys like you and me. I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I mean, I believe in that banks and business are the root of all evil in this world we live in. Like you said, AI and all that. But do we have any say at all, apart from music, man? I'm like,
well, democracy is largely the illusion of choice, isn't it? Because most people who stand to represent the people, they've got connections to the Council of Foreign Relations or the World Economic Forum, and so they're following orders and agenda from outside, and of course they wouldn't get elected if they didn't do that. So not really. I think we're in a very dangerous situation. I mean, the first thing that's going to happen, I think we're a matter of weeks away from it. If there's, if the world economy spirals down to a Great Depression, every city, especially this city, has 3 days worth of food left. Can you imagine what's going to happen after that? After this, all the global supplies, globalism's almost dead. It's on its last legs.
Yeah, a lot of cats and dogs in the city, so that's you got some food there.
Yeah, the way I look at it is
a lot of dogs. I know someone wants to eat her dog.
Well, I'm diabetic, so I kind of feel safer in South America than I do in New Zealand, because they don't make insulin in New Zealand, but they make it over the border in Brazil, so I stand a chance of another year or two. But like thinking about people in New Zealand with globalism, once the supply chain has been blocked, people are going to start going hungry and people are going to start dying.
Sure.
We're really in a kind of critical situation. The whole thing with attacking Iran, and America is complicit in this. America and UK are complicit in genocide.
Sure.
And people are being arrested on the streets. Old ladies and vicars and ordinary good folk are being arrested for supporting Palestine in UK. So free speech is pretty much dead. And then you've got the likes of Palantir setting up camp here, there, and everywhere. And it's important to inform people through platforms like your platform what Palantir is. It's a pre-crime software. That means you can be picked up by the police and you haven't done anything, but they think you're the type that might do something. So what are they going to do? Put you on a plane again, inject you and throw you out the fucking plane again? That's going to happen again unless people stand up. And I really do believe that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a good time to buy a parachute when they throw you off the plane.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how far this is all going.
Yeah. You know that I once read a book by George Orwell and The Lost Writings, and he talked, it was during the First World War in England, and there was nothing, man. People couldn't get bananas from Germany. People couldn't get anything. All they had was like whatever the country could provide. And Argentina is the kind of country that doesn't need any other country to survive.
Yeah, there's only two countries in the world that are like that. That's New Zealand and Argentina.
Yeah, and there was once a book that I read by Aldous Huxley, not Brave New World, The Ape Among Us, or The Ape in Essence. And hundreds of years into the future, when the world was destroyed, there was an expedition from New Zealand that traveled all the way to California. And they found this rare species of being that was able to survive all the, radiation and whatnot. And interesting books, man, about the future.
Well, it's interesting, the two authors that you highlighted there, because we start with H.G. Wells. He also wrote Blueprints for a New World Order. Yeah. And both him and Huxley, if you look at their mentors, their mentorship was basically something that we refer to as the Milner Group. Now, the Milner Group was formed at All Souls in Oxford. And they're the modern-day Royal Institute of International Affairs and the Council of Foreign Relations in the US. That evolved from this group. So the two authors that you mentioned, I actually think were complicit in the conspiracy. I don't think they were bystanders. Oh, this is a terrible thing that's going to happen. No, they dreamt it, and they thought that this is the way things should go.
Yeah, probably said, this is interesting. It's a good idea. Let's go for it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, the things that I love about my homeland is the tea and the sense of humour, and that's all that I retain from it. Apart from that, I'm a complete traitor. A complete traitor. All my life I've been anti-American. Don't take it personally.
No, man, I get that from the video. I was sitting at the dinner table with my kids, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have this guest on, Jaz Coleman, and I was like, wow, just check out this video. And we put on the 80s, and it was awesome, man. And my wife's like, Auntie Shanky, I was like, yeah, it's Auntie, and how did you come up with that, man? That was part of your...
Well, I had an uncle when I was young, and he was really hard left. My uncle was a communist, and my father was very right-wing. So you can imagine the kind of Sunday lunches we had. My uncle would say to my father, when he come back from the pub, he'd say, when we get into power, we're going to take your house off you. And it would all kick off, But he used to tell me some very interesting things. I remember, when the Munich Olympics happened, and the birth of what we call modern-day terrorism. And my uncle said to me, these terrorists, they don't do it for money, do they? And I thought about it. I thought, no. And he said, have a look at the godfathers of modern-day Israel. They were all in the Stern Group. They were killing British servicemen. And now they're the godfathers of modern-day Israel. And then, of course, later on, Margaret Thatcher famously said that Nelson Mandela was a terrorist and he should be executed. right? And so it started me thinking, once you start disagreeing with the status quo, you can be labeled anything, can't you? Really. Now, I've never held a firearm in my life. I'm very proud to say. When you squeeze that trigger, it's the end of someone's life. And I've never done that. I never considered myself in this way. But I've been brought up in a family that believes in the right to resist. And my father, he took me around all the German concentration camps. He made sure that I saw them. He took me to.
How old were you?
Oh, young, 8. Yeah. And he made me look at these points in history, and his point always was Hitler's willing executioners were the people who stayed silent, and that's the point, isn't it? If we stay silent on some of these issues, we are complicit. Now, recently, in the last year, I have to admit, I've lost friends, people who don't speak out about genocide. They're suspect. I'm sorry, but they're suspect. People who don't speak out about it, who think, I'm all right, it's not happening to me. I won't tolerate them as acquaintances or friends.
Yeah.
What about you? Where do you stand on that? What do you think? What do you think about what's happening in Palestine?
I think it's all about business. I think it's all about money.
Yeah, but how do you feel about it?
Well, how do I feel about it, man? I don't think killing is right. You know what I'm saying? But all I know is that, from what I hear, is that someone in Iran, for example, when they're born, they say, well, our goal is to kill the Jewish man. You know what I'm saying? And they're born
Well,
to kill
hang
the
on a second.
Jew.
We have to draw a distinction, firstly, between Jewishness, which is something wonderful. In my own opinion, I'm a Kabbalist, and I love Jewish culture. Now, that's something completely separate to Zionism.
Sure,
When we have to keep these things poles apart. Because there's wonderful Jewish people in this world, and not to be confused with Zionists.
Sure.
And the modern day the Greater Israel Project, which I think is going to affect all of us. Yeah. It's going to affect the price of oil. It's going to affect the price of food. Everything. Yeah. None of us will have seen anything like it in our lifetimes, even old people like me. Yeah. And I remember when there were steam engines in the UK. I'm that old. Yeah.
But I don't have enough information. I mean, I'm not there.
What do you mean you don't have enough information?
I'm not there, because information travels so fast, and there's so much false information.
Listen, my friend,
today.
There is a genocide happening as we speak, right? Thousands and thousands of people are dead. It could have been avoided, right? And there is no such thing as a chosen people, right? All men are equal. 2 arms, 2 legs. We're all equal. So any ethno-supremacy is something that is anathema to me. I didn't like the Nazis thinking that they were something special, and I can't stand any race thinking they're something more than any other race. Yeah. All men are equal. Yeah. I believe in that equality.
Sure.
Fraternity, solidarity. I believe in this. I'm just making myself really
A lot of countries didn't, though. For example, Spain with the conquistadores, man, they came here. They would just wipe out.
Oh, they were worse than the British. I
mean, I think the Spanish are worse than the Nazis, man.
Oh, they were terrible. Pizarro. Actually, it's interesting.
Different era, though, but still, man, it was just
terrible.
They wiped out. Man, they just wiped out everybody.
This all comes down to ethno-supremacy, but like the white man thinking he's more than the savage native. This imperialism. It can never happen again. We're at the end of the American empire now, and it's going to be messy. You know, when there's a rising power like China and an established power like the West, US, and its allies, 4 times out of 5, it leads to total war. It's called Thucydides' trap, isn't it?
Thucydides' trap.
Yeah, that's right. Ancient Greek philosopher. He saw Sparta and the rise of a smaller power against an established power, and so we're looking at a major war with China and Russia and the US.
Yeah, the thing with China is, man, they're never at war, and their military just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, whereas the US is constantly at war and constantly manufacturing more and more. Chinese are just like, they got so much. Well, see, the Russians are kind of depleted.
The greed, never underestimate the Russians.
Yeah.
Historically, I rest my case. But the greed of the US brand of capitalism knows no bounds. It's so self-destructive. It farmed out all its manufacturing industry to its enemy. And then it says, oh, can we buy some spare parts to bomb you with? But you know, it's just a joke.
Sure.
Where we are now.
It's a killing joke.
Yes, a killing joke indeed. Look, the thing is, generally speaking, look, I wouldn't like to live in China myself. I'm a freedom lover. But the Chinese don't foment wars the same way the US does. I mean, let's have a look at it just in recent years. Libya, Iraq, Iran, where do we go? Venezuela. Come on, add to the list. Bring them on. Yeah, everywhere. Which country haven't they intervened in? You know,
they have a military base here.
Do you believe the official narrative of 9/11?
No, I do not. Of course not.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Of course
that's
not.
good because my brother officially, he's a U.S. citizen. He believes the official narrative of 9/11 because he has to. Because if he says something different, he's going to lose his fucking job. You know, I'm sure he doesn't like genocide, but if he starts speaking out about Israel, he'll lose his job, which is he's very highly placed in the US.
Sure.
In the world of science. So some people put their own interests before the common interests of humanity.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. Doesn't really make much sense for people to do that. But, you know, I had a discussion yesterday with someone about this country's political movement, where we are now politically. You know, some people hate this government, some people love this government. But Argentina, I had a friend of mine once told me there are 4 types of countries: rich countries, poor countries, Japan, and Argentina. And Argentina is one of those unique countries that stand out on its own.
It is. It's one of the wealthiest countries in the world.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to steal its wealth.
Yeah, you can go in any direction and change 360 where you're at. You know, you can go north, you got, you know, forests and waterfalls. You can go south, you got icebergs. You can go...
Well, all these things, you know, it's a bit like New Zealand. I ended up building a recording studio in New Zealand and never seen anything of the country, always getting my head down with work, basically.
Sure.
And I haven't seen anything of this country.
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest. I've been to Cordoba for a couple of hours and Uritorco, and that's about it, really. I haven't seen anything of this wonderful country yet. But we're very keen to take Club Malvinas, which is our...
Yeah, tell me about that. Tell me about Club Malvinas.
Well, you know, clubs back in the 70s were very different from clubs now. You know, in West 11 or West 10 in Notting Hill Gate in London, we had these clubs, illegal clubs run by West Indians, which we called either shabinas or blues. And you could always get something to smoke there. There was always good heavy dub reggae playing and stuff like this. And, you know, after like 2005 I mentioned 2005 because that's when the smoking ban really came into effect really everywhere. Clubs became sterile and boring on every level. And so since I was in Reykjavik in Iceland, I always wanted to create a club that was everything that I look for in a club. And we kind of managed it, haven't we? We over the last 3 years, we started Club Malvinas, and
it moves around.
Yeah, we move around. We've got no hidden costs this way. If we stay stationary, you know, that's where you go under. And we sell out.
Sure. There was a similar movement during the 90s here. It was called La Fiesta del Maldonado Condom Club. And it was just a group of people, nomads, let's say. You know, I was, back then in the 90s, I went from South Philly Italian punk. I had to fake that I was Italian because if they knew I was Argentine, I was labeled a spick. You know, I was like the worst of the worst. I was below the cockroach. So I had to fake like, you know, I was Italian. So I hung out with the Italians. My Irish friends from school, they were the ones that got me into like Led Zeppelin, you know, Peter, you know, whatever. And but it was the Italians, you know, the hip hop, the Debbie Gibson and all whatever. But when I got here, I returned to, I feel like, you know, man, I love rock and roll, man. I love rock. I love heavy metal. And there were these Fiesta del Maldonado Condom Club. And they were like, they move around from place to place. Imagine, there was no cell phones, no Instagram, no nothing. You only found out through word of mouth. And they moved around the city. And you went there, man. It was just live music, everyone smoking weed. You know, everybody everybody's like cool, rock, free. It was like being at a Grateful Dead concert. You know what I'm saying? And it's similar to what you're doing. You know, bringing that back. You know, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we try and make it affordable. Everything we do for people, knowing that people are completely skint. You know, and we always say, if you don't have any money, contact us and say, I haven't got any money, but I want to come, and we'll get you in.
Sure.
We always have this system, so there's no excuse. You can attend, you know. And mobile phones are banned, so that we start inducing human conversation back into clubs, you know.
Sure.
And we have this point when we open the club where we insist that everybody introduces themselves to a stranger. And we put this music on.
Oh, it's cool,
and
man.
it's such the atmosphere kind of transforms at that moment. You
Sure,
know?
yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing. Look, the only way through the crisis that lies ahead is community. That's what I believe in. So the club is one massive step towards creating a wider community, a network of wonderful, freedom-loving people.
Sure. Yeah. It reminds me a lot of the 90s here. I used to go to a lot of underground clubs. Clubs in like basements, man. I've seen some of the best bands
I bet
here.
you were terrible.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I mean, there wasn't what there is today, you know? You had your basics. But it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful being like in a basement listening like one of the best bands I've seen.
You brought up a good point there. You know, you saying back in the day, what you call back in the day is yesterday for me. but you know, when I first started going to Iceland, you used to have to book a telephone call the day before before you rung Iceland. You know, and if you look at technology where it is now, things aren't better. I mean, today we try to like book airline tickets, and the fucking process of booking tickets is such a pain in the arse. Now, technology hasn't made my life better. Yeah. It's made it fucking worse. Yeah. You know? So, yeah, I often have these arguments with my brother, who's a very famous scientist, physicist. I say to him, if I got into power, I'd take your job away from you. I'd build a farm, do something positive with it, with the money, you know, because science hasn't really improved our lives, you know.
Until technology can't find cures for like cancer, diabetes, or shit like that, it's really useless, man.
Well, actually, the Chinese have found a cure for diabetes.
Oh, okay, there you go. Oh. The Chinese invented everything. You know, they invented ice cream. Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, I was.
It was the Italians.
No, everybody says the Italians, but the Chinese invented ice cream. They invented everything, right? Man.
And Botox as well, because it's from executed Chinese prisoners, isn't it?
Well, they got a lot of them. Sure, man. That's cool. So the Malvinas Club, and how often do you get together?
Once we've curated a new set of artists, we put the next one out. We like this. So we're always looking for a new artist that we like. We don't give a platform to music we're not into, obviously. You know.
What's the genre?
Not metal.
Not metal.
No. We like punk, post-punk, ambient, anything in the underground.
Sure.
Indie field or whatever, reggae music, all that, but it doesn't stretch as far as metal. For me, you know, when I see people doing these guitar solos that go on forever, it's just like musical masturbation.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, you know, and yeah, I like energy. I love energy in music, and I love speed in music. But I just don't like the cliches that metal brings with it.
Sure. Yeah. I remember...
The babes.
Yeah.
The babes and all the rock and roll lie.
Yeah.
It's not like that anyway.
How do you feel about the hair bands? You know, like...
God, don't even get me going. Crikey.
You're not a Motley Crue fan?
You know... I went on tour with them one time.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And I remember, what's the name of the drummer?
I have no idea.
He was with Pamela Anderson anyway.
Oh, Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee. Yeah, our manager said to him, I'm manager of Killing Joke. And Tommy Lee says to him, what are those guys doing now? And our manager said to them, they're on tour with you. He didn't have a clue. That band, they've got 4 tents either side of the stage. They meet on stage, then they all go back to their tents. They don't speak to each other. They can't stand each other. It's like a very strange setup. Like,
well, they weren't very bright.
No, you're quite right there.
Yeah, I don't think they were very bright. You know,
they're probably collectively the IQ of a donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have much to say to people like this. I mean, or to discuss with them.
It doesn't apply to like bands like Led Zeppelin, for example. Those guys were pretty bright.
Jimmy Page is like a grandfather to me. He let me use his library when I first started doing classical music. He had the first Xerox machine and printed all my scores out for me. He's a very kind man, Jimmy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
He said to me, he'd been through the drug thing. He said to me, never buy powders like that. He says, if you see a line on the table, you can have it, but you can never buy it. You understand?
That makes sense. It's with me and tobacco.
Yeah,
for sure.
a wonderful guy. You know, it's funny when you go into like a house of like Jimmy Page, or I think of somebody else, like Andrew Lloyd Webber. I've worked with this guy. When you see this Andrew Lloyd Webber's house, you go into his house, and there's a receptionist there, and then you go into the lift up to the first floor, and then you realise it's a bit like that Beatles film. He owns the whole street, and he's hollowed all the houses out into one big room inside, you know. And the guy was so grumpy and pissed off, and he was talking to me. Lloyd Webber was talking to me about how all the theatres in Broadway in New York City and the West End in London are all owned by one company, and they're just saying to him, this is what you're getting, you know? And Lloyd Webber is the richest man in the history of music. And so if he's at the top of the food chain, he's bitching about like he's not getting enough money, you know, what do you think it's like for us, you know?
Really?
Yeah. So I've had a colourful life. I was the first person to study Arabic music in Cairo Conservatoire, and this has been helpful because occasionally there's been a movie or somebody who wants Arabic strings, and they employ me, and I get to go out to Egypt and record with the string players there, which is always a great experience because they don't use up bows or down bows. All the bows go anywhere with the violin players, and everybody's smoking big doobies. Like everybody smokes hash in the studios, and you've got the little guy coming around with a tray with all lumps of hash on it and mint tea and coffees for all the orchestra.
Beautiful.
And the orchestra are permanently in a little room, and they ring a bell and they come up for the next session. It's nothing like Western recording studio, so I love all this. And,
sure.
I'm looking forward to going back this year, back to Cairo.
Can I go with
as
you,
long
man?
as it hasn't been they've just had a 5.5 earthquake. Cairo has. As long as they're not nukes or anything like that, everything will be all right.
Yeah. I'd like to go back with you, man, and just for the hash.
Oh, wow. Well, you're welcome to come with me when I do my next
Cool,
tour.
Man. That'd be awesome.
Next recording.
We could do Gringos in Cairo.
Yeah, like over there, when it comes to smoking, you go to the studios and you can smoke there, but you never keep it on yourself, right? Because over 5 grams you get hung.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit final.
There you go. Yeah. There's got to be a catch.
But everyone smokes.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's one of those funny places. They don't like alcohol, and they turn a blind eye to people who smoke hashish.
Oh.
But you got to be stupid to get caught. But you know the rule is, don't carry it. Go to the recording studios, and if it's there, you can smoke it.
Sure. Dude, I remember that we met at the screening of a Papo documentary. And halfway through it, we met outside, and I asked you, did you like it? And you said no. You hated it. I mean, because you're not a big fan of rock,
like blues. Yeah.
But you mentioned, I asked you, I said, where did music in England and Great Britain, where did that originate? And you mentioned something about insane asylums, man. And it got me thinking, is that where music originated?
Are you talking about rock music, modern day rock music? Right. Yeah. I remember what we were talking about, the influence of the Frankfurt School of Psychiatry
there you go.
On modern music and the composer Adorno. Now, these elements worked with the Tavistock Institute of Human Behavior. And if you don't know what that is, the Tavistock Institute is basically control of populations, mind control of the mind, basically.
Yeah, like the Bible.
Yeah, I'm thinking what would be a similar institution in the States. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, they think of mind controlled and control of populations and this kind of thing. And the truth is about counterculture is that it was all completely manufactured. It was manufactured by the Tavistock Institute and Adorno and the Frankfurt School of Psychiatry. The first tour of the Beatles was paid for by the Tavistock Institute. Memes like pop music. Where do you think this meme comes from? Or teenagers. This is Tavistock lingo, right?
K-pop.
Yeah, well, all of this is like evolving Tavistock lingo. And of course, when you look at people like Dr. Timothy Leary and the use of LSD to control populations and experimentation with this is all manufactured. So the 60s, as such, it was manufactured by a group of psychiatrists, really. Behavior analysis,
Sure.
Like institutions.
Sure.
And then we were also talking about. In the First World War, there were the Nature Boys. They call themselves the Nature Boys, and these were conscientious objectors who refused to fight and believed in self-sufficiency in underpopulated areas. This is where I'm talking about we, but in Killing Joke, we draw our counterculture from this source as opposed to the other one, the manufactured one.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. I was thinking about Jimmy Page. You mentioned Jimmy Page. Is it true he lives in Mr. Crowley's castle?
No, he sold Boleskine House a while back. But he's into all things magical.
Sure. Do you believe in the supernatural?
Well, when I was a teenager, that's one of the things we haven't talked about. When I was a teenager, I was heavily into magic, but I wanted to see the reality of magic. Was it real or not? Could it do this and that? And so I set about studying magical systems since my teenage years. Oh yes, it's very real.
If I told you that I lived with a ghost for 1 year in an apartment in Rio de Janeiro, would you believe me?
Oh yes, I would. Land and places have memory.
Sure. So do furniture.
Furniture?
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yes, I think probably everything does. I've met some dear old ladies who can pick up an object and they can tell you everything about that object and who's had it and everything, and they're bang on.
Yeah.
You know, some people have this skill.
Yeah, because I say that because my uncle, he was an antiques dealer in Manhattan during the 70s and 80s on 78th and Amsterdam. You know, and people like Woody Allen came in there, you know, actors, actresses, normal people went in there.
Oh, he's looking for a chaise longue.
No, but it was. But anyway, so he started to import and export antiques from Rio de Janeiro to Manhattan. And while in Rio de Janeiro, he bought a place and he got into the macumba. The macumba is like, you know, candles and stuff like that.
Yeah, voodoo shit.
Yeah, voodoo shit. And he started dress. He would always dress in a white suit, you know, white, you know, red tie and yada yada yada. He passed away, and I went there and I stayed in his apartment, and I stayed there for a year. And every time I left and I'd come back, there'd be the smell of candles. Candles, you know, when you blow out a candle, the smell lingers. And he was all in the candles. And macumba is part of, you know, candles are a big part of the macumba. And my neighbors would say, you know, I saw your uncle standing at the window. I was like, oh, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And dude, I mean, I was sitting there one night and I was just listening to this little radio. I was just all alone, you know, I was like doing my thing. I was writing and I could just feel, you know how you close your eyes and you could just feel the people's energy coming towards you or someone creeping up on you. I felt it from all over the place, man. And that's why I mentioned that, you know. I lived with these spirits, man. And all the furniture in there was like old, man. I'm talking tables with like engraved leather, I don't know, tapestries of Arabian Nights, and I was surrounded by antiques, man. I didn't lose my mind because I kind of enjoyed it because I'm a writer, you know. Here we are, Grateful Dead. But it you know, there's a big part of that, supernatural.
Land has memory, and people who love people who've passed on into the other world, the dead live by love.
Yeah.
And if you go to somewhere that the deceased loved, and you think of them, or do a ritual, take a drink of something that they like, so an offering or something like that, you can feel their presence, so it's tangible. Yeah. And then there's portals. Now, there are some parts of the earth that have very, very unusual properties. In the Old Testament, it says in Numbers, the land there eateth the people up. Now, these portals have very unusual kind of properties. I'll give you one example. I've got a home on an island in the Pacific, and we have a school on the island, and they started doing a Haka. All the school children do Haka, this dance in New Zealand. And then they went quiet. The school teacher and all the kids who were participating in Haka suddenly froze because they found themselves looking at 40 warriors, naked, except looking at all the school children. Everybody was terrified. They were real. And they just looked at everybody, in the kids in the school, and they walked back into the forest. And this happened. Everybody saw it. And then we can get on to the whole UFO thing.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we've had school children on the beach, and a massive saucer came out of the water, and all the children saw it, you know. And then I've had one UFO experience that I had with 4 other people, and we saw like 7 orange globes float towards us, and one seemed to come very close and showed this symbol to me and my friend Eddie. If you ever look at the Killing Joke movie, all the people who experience this, it's in the Killing Joke movie. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
And when the experience stopped, it was nighttime, and it was 12 midday when we saw these orange orbs come, and then it was nighttime. So there was missing time, and I don't know what to think about it. But if you look at the numbers of people who have experienced abductions, had strange encounters, it's a lot of people.
Sure.
And I think we're at a momentous point in history where they're trying to keep the lid on disclosure. Because, you see, the Rand Corporation back in the day, they did tests on this. They thought, well, they did this study on the implications of contact with extraterrestrials, the implications for humankind.
Oh yeah,
and it didn't work out well for us.
It blows God right out of the water.
No, it doesn't work out well for us.
No.
What happens when you discover that your science, your theology, your physics, your history, all of it is a load of shit.
Yeah,
it's lies. You go into this sort of collective depression.
Yeah,
and we're on the brink of that right now, because they can't keep a lid on it. You notice all the UFO hearings in the Senate and over the last couple of years. You know, I used to have my brother laughing at me, my interest in UFOs and things like that. He's not laughing anymore.
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to share. You know, my theory is my hypothesis is that millions of years ago, I don't know if millions of years ago. I told this to Spinetta. Spinetta was a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He was a musician, a famous rock and roll musician.
The guy who
yeah.
lived next door to you.
Yeah, the guy lived next door to me. And I told this to him. He's the only person I told that to. I'm going to tell it to you now. I mean, I believe that long ago, an alien spacecraft got stranded somewhere in Africa. Got stranded. You know, they lost contact. And they were there. They were just hanging out. And, you know, eventually they got horny. You know what I'm saying? And what are we going to do?
Genesis chapter 6. And there were giants in the earth in
What are
those
we gonna
days.
do?
There were giants in the earth in those days. And when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, great men were born, men of renown.
Yeah, so they started having, you know, procreating with the gorillas, man. And hence, you know, blah, yada, 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 here we are. And he's like, man, you fucking crazy. He said, but I don't know, man. It could make some sense.
What you're talking about,
I mean, why not?
It mirrors the epic of the Anunnaki, because they were the people who came to ancient Sumeria, and they were said to have created humankind. They obviously created us for mining purposes, because we've got this like unconscious memory of King Solomon's mines in all of us. See, I believe that in each one of us, we have the genetic memory of mankind within us. And that's why when you think of a mine, it takes us back to Africa. Why Africa? Well, that's because I think they needed to extract things and they didn't want to do it themselves. They wanted to extract metals and things. I think this is it's called interventionism, what you're talking about. And I think it's highly plausible. If you consider for 1 second that the last paper that the author of the guy who discovered DNA, his name is Francis Crick. His last paper was with a man called Orgel, and it was called Cosmic Reversibility, and it was he was of the belief that we were seeded by a highly advanced, that all life, not just humankind, all life on the planet could not have come from a random asteroid. He proved with Orgel beyond any doubt that that life was seeded deliberately on this planet. Now, we've just had 3I Atlas, the interstellar visitor, whiz through, stop, slow down, change course, go behind the sun, come back, speed up, head to Jupiter. This entity, this interstellar visitor that's not really acting like an asteroid or anything else, has the ability to end life or terraform life or seed life, or it's a type 2 civilization on the Kardashev scale. We would say that means that they draw energy from star systems. Sure. We're type 0 human beings. You know, we're trying to get to the type 1 level on the Kardashev scale, but we seem to be fucking up every time. Just before we get to that point, we destroy ourselves. And look,
that's human nature.
Well, look, I'm part Indian, so I've read the Mahabharata, and anyone who's read the Mahabharata knows that that nuclear war has happened in ancient times. If you look at the city of Mohenjo-daro, which is now in Pakistan, it used to be India. It was excavated by a guy called Mortimer Wheeler. And the thing that he found that is unusual about this place is all the human beings have formed a human chain. And everything was completely incinerated. They were incinerated, burnt. And if you consider the epic of the Mahabharata, it says it was an unknown weapon, 6 cubits by 4, shone in all its splendor, brighter than 10,000 suns. The soldiers threw themselves in the streams, in the rivers, in vain. Their hair fell out, the nails fell out from that terrible weapon. Oh, destroyer, bringer of death. Anyway, Oppenheimer, he recited this. And Oppenheimer also believed this. After the Trinity Project, when the US exploded in secret its first atomic bomb, Oppenheimer was asked in a university whether this was the only bomb that was exploded. And he said, well, yes, in modern times, of course. And then he started reciting from the Mahabharata. And then the CIA, from that point, they pushed him out of the way and they let Edward Teller take over. Sure. Edward Teller, of course, is the guy who took over not just the hydrogen bomb, but was in charge of all things non-human intelligence-wise. Yeah. If you look at the testimony of Robert Lazar, he met Edward Teller first before he went out to S4 Area 51 to work on crash disks. Sure. This is all real. This has happened, and we're catching up to this incredible time in history. And it is incredible. It's terrible and wonderful, the time that we're living in. Look, we could all be gone in 70 hours. That's how long it takes for a thermonuclear war to finish the Earth. It's 70 hours.
Unless you live in Mar del Plata.
Yeah.
That's the only place. Mar del Plata is the only place to survive a nuclear, because it's so far south and the winds. And I guess New Zealand, according to
not only are we dealing with all the volcanoes going off because of all the solar storms that are happening, so that's a volcanic winter, and then we'll have a nuclear winter on top of that. Sounds fucking great, doesn't it?
A bunch of people making bunkers, building bunkers, man.
Yes, I know. Peter Thiel's builds a bunker in New Zealand. The Maori people say that they're gonna block up the air vents and put concrete on his door. Anyway, why would you build a bunker in a country that's such a volcanic hotspot? It'd be like a concertina, it'd crunch you. I mean, and even if you survive, you start eating each other. Yeah.
I couldn't live underground. I'd rather be dead than live underground.
Yes, that's right. I'm with you.
For sure.
I'm with you on that one.
And what are you doing? What are you doing now? What are you doing in Argentina apart from the Malvinas Club?
Well, apart from Malvinas Club, I'm
making music.
Yeah, sure. I've just finished a violin concerto. Okay. That's called The Great East. It's about this time, actually. It's about the shift of power from the West to the East, the center of gravity of power. Sure. And that's what the whole piece is about. So I'll be going to China or Russia to record.
All right.
I haven't decided which one.
And why China, Russia? Why not record?
I like the sound of I like the sound of Russian orchestras.
Oh, okay.
And the style of the violin concerto is Eastern. It's Eastern. It's different. The expression, the decoration for the virtuoso is Eastern. It's not Western classical music as such.
It's like the Chinese trying to play tango.
Well, they could probably do it really good if you wrote it properly. Whether they can feel it or not.
I don't know if they can feel it.
Yeah, that's the point. Whether you can feel it or not.
I once went to Libertela. Libertela was one of the greatest bandoneon players.
Well, yeah.
Older guy, I guess he was about 70-something, man. He wore, one of those old school Italian tank tops. And he was, man, you could see the sweat. And he was just putting everything into it, man. It was just amazing. Just the feeling these guys had for playing. And
I love it. I mean, I love going to San Telmo. There's one club there. What's the name of that accordion band that I really like? I don't know what their name is. But there's one accordion band that I like. Yeah, they're fabulous. Have you seen them play?
No. Orquesta d'Ariens.
Yeah. These guys really perform.
They feel it. Man.
Yeah.
And the tango lyrics are amazing. I don't know if you ever have the time. translate some of these.
I don't speak English properly. What are you talking about?
Nah, you speak English well enough. You could try. I'm sure you could get AI and melt some glaciers. And yeah, this whole AI thing is.
I know. Boy George has started writing songs using AI.
Oh, wow.
His latest offering is AI.
He still calls himself Boy George. Yeah, that's amazing.
He's hardly a boy. He looks like a bricklayer to me. But he's a lovely guy, George. I'm not sure about his politics at the moment. He's in the papers at the moment. He's just in his new song, which is it's very pro-Israel. Yeah, which is not a very popular thing at the moment. Yeah.
Anything Israel, and
fair enough. Look, listen. If you don't, again, I'm going to say, if you don't speak out about genocide or terror or bad things happening, I think you stain your soul.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, you got to speak out.
Yes.
Either through music.
One way or another.
Through
we
writing.
are obliged to. All freedom lovers have to speak out.
Sure.
When you see this sort of thing happening.
Sure.
No, it's a terrible thing. And when I look at the world now, I mean, I don't know whether you're aware of how many volcanoes look like they're about to blast, and the ring of fire. And this is all because of solar activity. We're in the middle of a perpetual pulse-like wave of solar storms, which in turn are triggering earthquakes and volcanic activity. Sure. So the Earth's going through its own great reset, if you like. Sure. If you have a look at the map that Edgar Cayce did of the New World, you'll see that most coastal cities are gone in his map. I mean, there's no long-term future for Buenos Aires. We're going to have to move the capital city to San Luis.
Yeah, or Córdoba.
Or Córdoba.
Córdoba's
They have to compete for the capital.
There's a city, there's a small town in Córdoba called Capilla del Monte.
Oh, been there.
You've been there. Okay,
yeah,
that's really
I love it.
Yeah,
it's all our kind of people, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. yeah, a lot of extraterrestrials and stuff.
Man. I loved it there.
Yeah.
What
sure.
a beautiful place.
For sure.
And wonderful people, freedom-loving people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, would you like to take the Malvinas Club around Argentina? Other parts?
Absolutely. We're intent on it. We've had many offers.
Yeah.
And we'll use the local bands once we get to know them.
Sure.
In each area and yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. That's good. It's good to have plans. It's good to,
Yeah, like you say, I mean, the great thing about this country is it's so vast. You can visit all sorts of regions without leaving the country, and that's something I haven't done yet. That lies ahead of me. Although I'm not fond of cold weather.
Yeah, well, nice weather's coming. Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming soon.
When people start talking about
spring's just around the corner.
When people start talking about all the things that are happening in Patagonia and how companies want to use all the resources down there, I always look back at the map I just referred to, the Cayce map of the world, because it's all underwater.
Yeah.
Along with the Malvinas, they'll be underwater too.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment.
Would you like to visit the Malvinas?
Oh, I intend to.
Yeah. There's a flight once a week.
Once a week it flies from Argentina.
Yeah, from it was flying from Comodoro Rivadavia, but now I think it flies from Ushuaia. There's a flight that flies in from Chile. It's land Chile.
You'll have to come with me when we go there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they never think that we're pro-Argentinian.
Yeah.
You're an American passport. I've still got a British passport.
Yeah, sure. But Argentines can go. Yeah, they're afraid. But I had a friend of mine, an Australian historian, that went, and he took that flight, and most of the flight were all Argentines, older people, but that went there, and they say it's really expensive.
The flight?
No, not the flight. The
place.
Plane, being there, it's really expensive. Really expensive.
Apparently, there's a hotel called Hotel Malvinas.
Yeah, well, I guess so, man. Why not? But it's expensive because there's a blockade, and they have no fresh fruits, no fruits. There's one boat a week from Uruguay that goes to the Malvinas with fruits and vegetables.
So you could say we could go and flog a load of dodgy fruit over there.
Yeah, man. Take some space cookies, man. Space cookies over there, man. For sure, man.
I bet they don't have any good weed over there.
I don't think so, man.
No.
You never know, man. You never know.
Do you think so?
You never know. The life's full of surprises, man. It is. It's not a prison, man. It's a place just like every other.
Yeah, but there's nothing to hide under. There's no trees or anything. It's a rock, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Iceland was like that. It did my head in after living there for a while because there's no trees.
Sure.
It just seems you're so exposed all the time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The thing is, the Malvinas is Argentina.
Yeah.
It's a bit like. Have you seen those islands off the United Kingdom?
Yeah. Sure.
You've got the Isle of Wight and the Isle of Man. Well, imagine if the Isle of Man was full of North Koreans, right?
Yeah.
We'd have something to say about it. It's the same. What the hell are the British doing in these islands right next to Argentina? What the hell are they doing there?
Sure.
It's basically out of date. Imperialism is dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about Maradona and the hand of God?
Look, you've got to understand. I hate football. Right, although I did watch the match with Argentina and England, and I was certainly cheering for Argentina just because of it affects everybody around me.
Sure.
But look, the character, the person, Maradona, what a wonderful human being. Yeah. You've got to love this guy. In the UK, you get a lot of people come from rich families there that get into positions of power in the UK. We have this kind of hierarchical system in the UK. Well, when you see somebody who crawls out of the gutter and goes all the way to the top, their struggle is much greater than the privileged few.
Yeah.
And so I put Maradona in this category. He crawled out of the fucking slime in a poor neighborhood, and he led his country to
the top.
After the war in the Malvinas, I remember watching that match, and I told you I disliked football back in 1986, and it was fabulous to see. He was like a beast.
Yeah.
He had to win. He had to win. And he knew it, and
he was a man on a mission.
Oh,
if there ever
it gives me
was.
Goosebumps thinking about it. Yeah. Of course, I love him. He's one of the great Argentinian souls.
Yeah. He has an almost his life is almost godlike, because he rose to the top, and he every pitfall was set before him. You know what I'm saying? And he managed to survive all that. Unfortunately, he got in his later days surrounded by the wrong people. But it's mystical.
Yeah,
so he had something, and there's a lot of comparison between him and Messi, but their upbringing and his persona and the way he was able to. He played in all different.
Well, I would like to say that I believe in the arts very much. Lawrence Durrell made this wonderful statement. He said, when the mob becomes the artist, we shall enter the golden age. Now, I would like to see the arts in this country take the international stage.
Sure.
The bands especially.
Yeah.
Which I can't think of one Argentinian band. I mean, some people can, but in Western culture, you go, when it bleeds into your hit system of your country, it gets in the top 10. There's no Argentinian bands being in the top 10 in the UK, but they could.
Sure.
They could. And just to sow that seed of possibility in young musicians.
Sure.
Well,
I think Sumo might have had a chance. A band called Sumo. He was an Italian guy who spent a lot of time in England, and then he came here and he started a band, and he sung in English during the time where you couldn't even own a Beatles album, and this guy had the balls to sing in English.
I heard about
Luca
him.
Prodan. He shaved his head. And his music it was the first band I listened to here, and it just blew my mind.
Wow.
Sumo. And unfortunately, he had a liking for Ginebra.
That's the geezer who passed in Venezuela, isn't it?
I don't know. No, that's Cerati.
Huh?
No, that's Cerati.
Oh.
He was this guy, Luca Prodan, he was just amazing, man. He just broke the mold. And like I said, he sung in English at a time where you couldn't even mention the Beatles, man.
He knows who is, but he don't remember now.
Yeah. Ooh, la 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 la
again,
la la la.
I like to think that the Club Malvinas platform, and we intend to evolve to a record label as well as a club. That we're looking for people we think that could write music that will travel.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
awesome.
Sure.
That's awesome. You got a lot of musicians here, a lot of good musicians. I had a bar for 2 years. It was called
you?
Bukowski, out in Villa Gesell, down at this beach town, and I had live music every night. Every night. I used to have open jams. I had, live jams. People would sign up. They'd come in there with their guitars, and they'd set up. I had a drum set. I had a little stage, and people would sign up.
What happened to that club?
Well, I'm not a businessman. It made no money, and I was drinking all my profits. I'm not a businessman. I didn't sell any food. I opened at 11:30 and closed when the sun went up, man. And that was it. I sold beer. I sold booze cheap. I had no food. I'm not a businessman. I just wanted to open it. And it was just, I saw the best music, man. It was just 60 straight nights of live music.
Wonderful.
But fortunately, it's a summer town. Then nothing happened.
And were you paying rent, or did you own the place?
No, I paid rent.
See, yeah, I made that mistake when I built my recording studio. I didn't own the property.
Yeah, I was paying rent, and I couldn't afford.
It's bad enough even if you own the property. Things are hard enough anyway.
And bands, I give them a free pizza, a couple beers, some of them wanted money, but it was just like, dude, I'm not in it for the money, man. I'm in it to give you a space to play. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the guys appreciated that, and some of them, no, man, we want money, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't about money. It was just about, hey, man, play, just rock, dude, just jam, have a good time. And it was one of the best bars on the entire Costa Atlantica, man. People would go there. But it was a good idea, It was, but just you got to make money, man, to keep those places afloat. You know what I'm saying?
I was reading the views of this physicist recently, and they said basically our notion of the past is really completely flawed. That the past still exists.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of, wow, so all the people that have passed on, they're still alive, if that's true. It's a very interesting concept. When you think of people who've passed, then in the distant future, the distant future, they're not dead yet. And so our understanding of time is really evolving.
Sure.
In my lifetime, the ideas of magic, and magic is to create change in accordance with the will, and then the physicists say that we're all participants in creating reality. So these two worlds of science and magic have kind of merged in my lifetime, and it's very interesting to see where it's going to go from here.
Sure.
Yes. I saw one leaked paper. It was a NASA paper, and it was real, and it was called "The End of Humanity." And this is what, of course, the Silicon Valley people, your mate Peter Thiel, this is what they all believe. Basically, since '95, we've been sprayed with nanotechnology. I mean, that technology is inside your body now. And if you don't believe me, you should read Professor Carnicom's thesis on. He's got a website. It's called the Carnicom Institute, and he's the only independent researcher and scientist who monitors geoengineering, like monitoring what they're spraying on us, what's in the soil. He goes to the top of Mount Shasta. He takes samples of all the ice, and he basically tells people what's going on. And basically, the way Silicon Valley views it is the technology that's inside your body, it's this self-replicating nanotechnology. They own it, and invariably they own you as well. Okay. So as we move from 5G to 6G and then 6G to 7G, we're basically talking about voice-to-skull technologies. It's called transcranial magnetic stimulation. Yeah, and this is what the study was about. The end of humanity is that Homo sapien is finished. We're moving to Homo universalis. A different species, completely different species, and the change has already begun, and so you and I, we're the last of our species. I want that to sink in for once. We are the last of our species. Like they're creating such a hell on Earth. The only people that will survive are people who've downloaded their consciousness into laboratory-reared bodies that are silicon-based, not carbon-based.
Sure.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
And that's where we're at. Look, we're in a time of polycataclysm. That means all the volcanoes are going to go off. There's going to be a nuclear war. There's going to be mega tsunamis. There's going to be mega earthquakes. To add to that, we're in the middle of the biggest solar storm that you can imagine. The sun is angry as fuck. And so we have all these problems, and that's before we've got to World War III. Yeah. So I'm talking to myself now. I think the role of the Club Malvinas is so important to me at this stage in my life, because it's a community, and we need community to get through this. Soon, money won't mean anything.
Sure.
I don't know why the current president of this country, God bless his soul, why he's aligned himself to the US dollar, because, I don't know what anyone told him. He's supposed to be an economist, but the US has got a $41 trillion debt. Why would you align yourself to a currency that's on its way out?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good question, isn't it?
Sure.
I don't really know the answer to all of these. I have a great distrust of all politicians. Indeed, I've never voted in my life. I don't like them.
And
I don't like politicians, and I don't believe in
they're all a
political
bunch of
solutions.
crooks. Yeah, for sure. Well, Jaz, we're out of time, unfortunately.
It's been fun.
But it's been an insightful and entertaining and very. I mean, if you got them, smoke them. I mean, if the world's gonna end, you might as well go out with a bang.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but
As all those people who are drinking heavily, probably it's not time to give up drinking.
Sure. But I want to thank you for taking the time to visit me here on the Gringos in Buenos Aires podcast.
It's a great podcast. God bless
And
you.
thank you so much. And yeah, is there anything you want to say to people out there? Anybody watching? Friends, family, fans?
Leave me alone.
All right, there you go. And on that note, I'll catch you next time for another dose of the Gringos in Buenos Aires podcast.
Okay.
Ciao for now.